Hi, secondary one. I hope you, all of you, is okay. Our lesson today is about projectiles. You have to know that projectiles is two-dimension motion. We are talking about a motion in between the vertical and the horizontal motion. Imagine that you have a basketball and you will throw your basketball from this position. So this position is the initial velocity. You have to know that the ball will get a two-dimension analyzing, so it will have a vertical analyzing and a horizontal analyzing. By talking about the vertical analyzing, assume that you are making an angle theta with the x-axis. So the horizontal initial velocity v initial x will be the adjacent to that theta, so v initial x will be equal to v initial, acting as a resultant by cosine theta, as the adjacent will take the cosine. And if we are talking about the vertical analyzing of the velocity, so the vertical analyzing will be the y vertical velocity. Vertical initial velocity will be v initial y, will equate with v initial with sine theta. And you have to know that after a while it will get a final velocity. Also, it will have a final velocity in the y-axis and the final velocity in the x-axis. By analyzing the final velocity in the y-axis, it will get v final by sine theta, and the x-axis will get v final by cosine theta. If you reach the maximum height, you have to know that the v final at the y is equal to 0, as there is no more projecting upward, and it will be projected downward or free falling again. So you have to know that if you will get the total flight, you will make a range, or it's a range of the flight. It will take a flight time which is introduced by t maximum, by t capital, or the double time of the maximum height, You have to know that the law of the projectiles is dividing into the y-axis and the x-axis. If we are talking about the y-axis, you will have the equation of motion, the first equation, the second equation, the third equation, but in y dimension and using the gravity. You have to know also by the projecting upward, the gravity is negative, and the projecting downward, the gravity is positive. So by taking the v initial in the x, we have to know that v initial cosine theta, v initial at the y, v initial sine theta, v initial y to v initial x. By making sine over cosine, it will get tan theta. The maximum height, you have to know that it's squaring of the v initial y over negative 2 by the gravity. The gravity is negative due to projecting upward. The flight time is 2 by the v initial y over negative gravity, but the time must be positive, such that the time is non-vector. By taking the range is v initial x by flight time. Range becomes maximum when the angle of projection is 45. Here is the projection or the projectiles. You have to know also that we have to discuss the Newton law. Newton's second law is the laying to the second term, so we will have discussed the first Newton's law, which is state that body keeps its state of motion once you have to rest it or stop it, or the body keep its state of rest once it's moving by means of inertia. So if you are sitting beside your father and he will start motion, your body will get backward, or if the car is moved already and your father want to brake the car or stop the car, your body will move forward. It's called inertia. Inertia is the property of resisting the change in the dynamic motion. Newton's second law is delaying into the second term, as we said. So Newton's third law, you have to know that every action has a reaction equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. If you project a ball by small velocity toward the wall, it will get back to you by the same velocity that you project it with. So if reaction has a reaction equal magnitude and opposite direction, we can explain that in equation of the first force will be equal and opposite to the second force. Action and reaction having the same type must have the same type and originated and vanished together, not at equilibrium because they not at the same time. Not at the same time. Example for that, launching rocket. So you will wait me for the revision بإذن الله at the next time. Thank you.